Let's all rise, please, for the regular council meeting for the city of Ellsworth, November 2024, 2025. Let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, need to approve the agenda. And there's one change. We're gonna go ahead and do the executive session after all the reports are done. At the very end, right before it says adjournment, we're gonna move to that.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if I should say, but at the time of the agenda was published, there's only one termination request.
Okay,
Extension request, we have two now.
we have two. Okay.
And do we have any minutes to review for tonight? I
We-
don't see a link for
But
that.
don't we have to approve the agenda first, then we'll get into this next? Or?
Yeah, approve agenda first.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
So if they're
I,
not on there, we need to take them off of the consent agenda is basically
They're not in
the
the
point.
packet?
There's no link on here to look at them, so I'm just assuming they're not.
That would be my mistake, I apologize.
Well,
That's no big
two
deal.
times, that's that.
Okay, so do I just need to
Yeah.
say, like, we wanna strike the,
Well, no, this is change agenda and then under consent agenda. Well, you could do, we have no consent agenda then. So go ahead and end the meeting and then we get consent agenda, we'll say that happens and then we'll just move on there. You still have it, still have the placeholder there.
Okay. Did that?
I think so.
Good.
Tyler, will you make?
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented,
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second.
All right. Councilor Nard has made a motion to approve the agenda as amended. President Council Coates has seconded that. Any debate, any concerns? None? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. So we're moving on to public comment.
Yeah, there's no consent agenda, we got left out. So
Okay. Do we have anybody on our list today? To speak?
So we don't
publicly?
need to approve the two.
Oh, we have to.
Termination requests?
Yeah, let's do that then, okay. They're fine.
You have never.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, that's, no. What's that?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the two water termination extension requests.
I'll second. All right. Councilor Coates has made a motion to extend the water termination. And Councilor Allen has seconded that. Any concerns with that? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. No one has signed up for public comment tonight, so we'll move on to unfinished business. This is an important item, the discussion of city employee health insurance benefit package.
Mayor, council members, we had a discussion last time. Of course, this all starts because. And anytime we talk about health insurance stuff, with employees like what they got, and I think we have. Probably one of the most excellent packages I ever seen in the state of Kansas. The problem with that is. You've got to the point where the city has started looking at changing, or you can't afford it. The city spends about $360,000 a year for employees' health insurance benefit. So a 10% increase is $30,000 to $35,000. You know, and again, I always hate to point these out, but you know, we have a lot of families on there. But when they bypass their husband's single policy to be on the family policy, they said, well, we're better, I mean, we're cheaper. I get all that, and I get it's a great benefit, but it gets the point of affording it. So at the last meeting, I talked about an idea, and we have a $500 deductible, which is so, I mean, there's nobody has a $500 deductible anymore. And so last meeting, we talked about moving to a $1,000 deductible. But instead of having a traditional, a normal Blue Cross policy with $500 or $1,000 deductible, going to a Blue Cross HSA plan, Health Savings Account plan. Health Savings Account plan, and they're fine. The problem with HSA plans is by themselves, they have $6,250 deductible. And the problem is by themselves, they're tough for employees to handle because there's no prescription cards. No, what I call first dollar benefit, no prescription cards, no office co-pays. You just pay the $6,250. And I mean, Councilmember Hanson talked about where she works at, they're going to a true HSA. I've seen HSAs work, where the city or the employer puts money in every employee's account. And HSAs are cool, there's a lot of reasons I had one when I was in Houston, and they're great. I walked away, I had $3,000 left in my account, I moved to another city. My 8th grade daughter had to need braces, and they said it's $4,000, $3,200 if you pay it up front. Done. I mean, so that's a nice part about HSAs, and that money, it is portable. So one idea we looked at is one that a lot of cities have included. I had 2 cities that I've worked with do this, both 2 cities I've managed. Whereas you go to an HSA plan, but you overlay it with, which is actually part of 105 of the IRS code, where the city self-insures the piece after 6,350. So what we're recommending, what the recommendation was, is $1,000 deductible. For employees, raise from 500 to 1,000. It probably should go higher, but let's take small steps. And in turn, go to a, and then 80/20 copay on the next $5,000 or 1,000 out of pocket. So maximum out of pocket is 2,000, 4,000 per family, of course. And then when it hits the 6,350, it becomes, Blue Cross is probably, if they have a 6,350. The problem is any plan you buy, if you buy a $500 plan, you probably have a third, 25 employees, how many bodies do you have in your plan? But you probably only got 4, 5, or 6 that ever get that high. So you're paying for a plan for a $500 deductible or $1,000 deductible, when for most cases, for 80% of your employees, that 6,350 would work well, and the city self-insures that in between. So the recommendation that we looked at is, I'll go to page 4, agenda. Page 7 on your agenda. Packet. Page 7, okay. Our current plans, and the plans that are current is that one. And so your total premium is $400,000 a year. The renewal is $512,000. But let's slide way over to the right now. In that plan there that has a it's a high deductible plan, but the city is going to do the benefits, the same copays, 50/75 script card. I believe it's a $25 office copay, that's spelled later on. But you see an 18% savings. What we are proposed to do is go with that with the HSA plan, go to $1,000 deductible. But the city and the employees still fund the renewal plan at $512,000. But take that difference from $512 to $383 and put it in the bank. City's money. So when an employee has a $100 prescription and they pull out their $15 copay, their copay, they pay $15. The city pays $85. Until we get to the 6,350, and then Blue takes it all. Okay. These plans have worked. I've had 2 of them that were excellent. City of Russell has been on for a lot of years, and they actually have saved. There's cities that are a little bigger than us, but have $500,000 set in the bank, which means as they accumulate it, when you stop the big increases. So when they have a 20% one year, they may eat part of it out of that reserve. That's what I've done in the past, and it works really well. But the key is just we got to fund some the first year. So in other words, we're still going to spend $512,000. Again, I mean bodies, but only $383 is going to go to the Blues. The other 140, whatever that be, 130 we keep. Okay. And that will fund it, and we should grow some reserve. Then you start looking at future years. I mentioned last time, Ellsworth County employees have similar plans. Now theirs was different. We found out because we heard a lot of complaints. A year ago, they were not on Blue Cross. Their underlying plan was not Blue Cross. And I'm not saying Blue's the only thing in the world, and I've had non-Blue plans, I've had self-insured plans, they work. But for Central Kansas, for a Kansas person, I have that comfort in the Blue Cross. And we do, we're Blue Cross networks. And I've always said, I never want a city plan, because I've had this proposed to me. You can't choose your own doctor. I've always promoted plans that you can choose your own doctor, that's always through the Blue Network, but most of them are anyhow, so let's don't worry about that too much. A plan that also, when you are traveling in North Dakota and you have a car accident and you go to the hospital or you have an appendicitis, you have the National Blue Network too. Those are all important issues. I think those are very important to have, and I mean, I want them and so does some of the employees. So I think this was we're not gonna save, the savings we have to first, if we have savings, it'll stay with the city in the employee fund. So as we grow the fund, which some say, one city I was in, that we had savings, we actually increased, in that city, we paid 80% of a single, and that was it. Then we went to 100% of a single. And then on the family plans, the +1 plans, full family, employee, spouse, and employee dependents, we actually started increasing that over the years with all the savings we got. And you can do that because not everybody happens. You know, this plan, the city is in a big group through KMIT. I believe there's 31 cities now. You can't, and it's tough to get in now. And this city was one of the first ones in that plan. They've been in KMIT for work comp forever, and then they started this health plan. The nice part about that is there's probably about 600 bodies now. And I always say that, you know, this year there was 2 big claims. Thank God they weren't here. It wasn't our people. And that drives your plan. But guess what? Everybody remember we had somebody here a couple of years ago that was it can happen. You don't know where it's gonna happen. Nobody wants to have a $600,000 claim. It just happens, and then, and that's your coverage here. We met with a group of employees, and for the most part, I think they understand. I know staff understood. I mean, the 2 that would handle most, Angela understood. Angela bought into it. Because it's different. I mean, it's different. But bottom line list, employees will have a Blue Cross plan. It'll have a $1,000 deductible instead of $500 deductible. But I think you have to move that. We probably should go to 2,500, but don't do that yet. One step at a time. The other and the other thing we have pulled out of there is right now in the plan we have, and only in the plan we have, not in all Blue Cross plans, we had an accident copay. The first $1,000 for accident went straight, that was copay. The problem is that attacks your dollar amounts you have in your reserve. And that employee is not building his reserve either, so you gotta be careful, you wanna treat it like it's still an HSA plan, but you wanna treat it like it's say, not like a $500 deductible plan. And I think it does work. It's still be blue, so the only big difference is the employees now have 2 cards. Councilmember Hanson has a 2-card thing. Now, she mentioned last time there were some employees that weren't getting their co-pays paid. The county has 2 plans, so they have a regular insurance plan. I don't know what the deductibles are, and I don't know what percent, I don't know that. But they also have a true HSA plan. HSA plan, there's no deductibles. You just take it all yourself. But that's why you have your HSA money to the side, you establish accounts for them, it works for them. Is this gonna be a big savings first year? No, but I think it's really down the road. If it doesn't work, you can go back. Problem is you've gotta do something because, and I know insurance is important to employees, I get on that employee benefit. But if you focus always on insurance and you lose track of salaries. Health insurance, I always say, does not buy groceries. It doesn't make house payments. It don't make car payments. It covers you when you need it. And hopefully you don't, but when you do, it's there. I mean, because we don't know who the next person here is gonna have a cancer or heart attack or whatever the case may be, or a preemie child, or you just don't know. It can happen, and you gotta prepare for it, you have the coverage on it. So I think the coverage is there. Third party administrator we use it, there's other ones, and I've used this one before. Freedom Place Management had a great event. The nice part about it is they've worked with all the providers in this area, from Flyeth and Russell. They work with them, so the 2 cards not a big deal. When I had this in another city in southeast Kansas, everybody said 2 cards. Well, I says, and I've hit the age now. When you get to a certain age, you're probably gonna carry 2 or 3 cards, which I do now. I carry 3 cards now, so and I'm on Medicare, and I got a supplement, and I got a.
So what would the 2 cards represent?
One is a Blue Cross card that says Blue Cross on there. And then the other card, it'd be your secondary, which would be the Freedom Claims card. And that's what the county employees have. You
That's
have
the
two cards.
HSA card.
No.
So it's kind of like Medicare version.
No, it won't be
Have
HSA.
Like
Yeah,
supplemental.
it'd be, thank you. Good comparison. Thank
No,
you.
there is no HSA with this plan. None.
The city will buy, the employees will all have an HSA plan,
Hmm.
but we're gonna treat it like $1,000 deductible plan with copays.
Okay.
That's the problem with the HSA is if you had a drug that cost $300 a prescription. You know, on a true HSA plan, you pay that $300 every single month. And times 12 is $3,600, you still have an extra deductible in. This plan here, at $300, let's say it's a formulary, so it's a $50 copay. You pay $50 a month for those months. And you may probably, and that doesn't go towards your deductible, it goes to max med. You can afford that, you know, I mean, you know, there's no health plan to complain on, you know, life has changed, you know, when I had my first child 44 years ago. It was $10 for STEM, it was $10 deductible from Blue Cross back then. But it cost having Emily from STEM to STIR, the first office visit to taking home baby, $1,600. Ain't that cheap now? Yeah, we had a child 2.5 years later, and we were stepped in the house, and it cost $2,600. At that time, my wife made a comment. It really jumped up from $1,500 to $2,600, and I says, but our second baby weighed 9 pounds, 6.5 ounces. I says, per ounce, she was still cheaper. And then 10.5 years later, when we had Macy, the game was even wilder then, you know, so. It is what it is. I think it still provides coverage. You know, I have full confidence in Freedom Claim. Again, I always tell when I worked on a plan, a company before. I wish that be known, but I've had great experience with them. There's other companies that do the same thing. This one here is 30 miles away, 40 miles away, and she does the employee meetings. She'd come to employee enrollments, explain the cards to them and how we're gonna do this. Like I said, the first year, we're gonna take that difference. If you look from this, on this page here, from column 2 to column 4, we're gonna take that difference, basically $130,000, and stick it in a city account and pay the claims with the hope that there's 40 or 50,000 left over the end of the year. And move following year, do that again, and down the road you get that. Granted, the plan I had last at 170, not comparison, but in less than 5 years, we were up to 1.5. Which then we want benefits back and everything else. One city on the same plan, nearby city, is actually, and the cities on the plan, I know Russell is in Lidsborg and Abilene and Mount Ridge. And you know, Freedom Claims is over 500 accounts. Not all cities, of course, they have private business too. I think it's just a workable way to find a way. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna be perfect? I don't know. I always tell everybody, I can define you if you tell me what illnesses you're gonna have next year, I can get you good. And when it's a group, sorry, old guys, you know, you have pregnancy, you have baby delivery covered in your plan. I mean, you know, it's the way life is. It's a group plan.
Well, we're gonna have to change something.
Or at least make an attempt to, because it keeps going up. I know, you know, the $1,000 deductible is probably a step. The other option is for the city to save money is instead of paying 86% of a policy, pay 76%. The problem with that is now that goes straight back to the employees. Because if like you're in a family plan at the new rate is 23.42. Okay. So if we back that up 10%, that means the employee got to find another $230.
Well, it doesn't sound unfair.
You know.
Deductibles raised when you got to. They go up.
Yeah, it's a different approach. I said the 2-card thing. I've had 2 cards though. I was in this plan for 2 different cities for 13 years. Yeah.
So when you go to the medical practice, they say, all right, you just break out both cards. They have record of both.
You hand both cards to them. And it's, you know,
And they know what to do behind the scenes. They're like, this is how we're gonna do it. And
well, first of all, it's not gonna be a problem in this town because like I said, with the county employees being on a similar plan. And again, but they were Aetna and their blue plan may be different than our blue plan. I don't know, you know,
yeah,
I have to look at the cards. But it's gonna be, so one card's will say HSA and they'll submit there. At the same time, they also submit to Freedoms and then Freedoms is money and so, and Freedom Health. So every month they're gonna say, we had $5,000 that the city has to pay, so then we'll write a check. Or it's 2 weeks, whatever it is, $5,000 from this reserve account. To, and pay for those. You know. Again, I don't know if it's perfect, but like I said, I know it's worked, it has worked. And it's a way to try the long term. The other options I hate, the other option of going to say, hey, we're gonna go to a true HSA, you guys figure how you fund your difference, that's not good. I'm against that. Changing the amount the city pays, 86% is high, I'm not gonna argue that, for a family plan. Employee plans, yes, employee alone, like I said, I wasn't saying we did 100% of it, a single employee. But the family plans, the employees are putting, you know, $600, $700, $9,000 a month.
Yeah.
So Alan, my question is, because this is very complicated for me, what was the position that the department heads took?
I think the group that we met with, group of employees, we had like 7 or 8 over there. They were okay, you know, are they totally like into it? No, they're gonna be nervous. Every city I've been in, we changed their, God, I like the old way, I like $500 deductible, by the way. But like I said, I think the true sign is, you know, there is cities, the city of Hayes, and I don't know if they are now, 15 years ago, the city of Hayes, if you were employed there and your spouse had an eligible plan, you paid a surcharge to get your spouse on the city plan. Because why should, if you're working for a different company, why shouldn't they pay? But you know, and I would do the same thing. If I had a family right now and my wife was working on a plan, I would go to this plan. I mean, here's $1 and cents like $2. But is that a cost that not only the city pays, which is all taxpayers in town? You gotta realize a 30%, a $30,000 increase is $1 million of taxes. Now, granted, not all employees are, you know, like the water employees, for example, are not paid by general fund dollars, so they're not tax dollars, but you know, still the same equivalent per se. So when you went up 10%, that's 1.5 mils. And again, how do we, you know, how do you balance employees and the benefits there in salaries along with the property taxes that people in the city pay? And we gotta find that, because you know, when you hear the 80 mils here, I mean, I get the complaints, I understand that. And in a couple of years, I'll have a house built and when in a lot, I think the 8 or 7, you know, the point is that, you know, that's where we have to separate, how do you separate the two sides from the employees and keeping employed, but you want to keep employees too, that's important. So where do you find a happy medium? And unfortunately, health insurance costs are going up. I don't see that changing. You know, we've heard complaints that, you know, the county plan didn't pay this or that. You know, there's certain things that have to be paid by, from the ACA, Affordable Care Act. In fact, we may have found one that we have to look at, that we had an employee that, Blue Cross policy didn't pay off her wellness, for her annual wellness. Now, you know, it pays for annual wellness. Now, if you go in there and you find plethora of problems, those now have to, they're not part, I mean, you get your annual wellness and say, but you got this, you gotta treat that. Well, that now means your deductible and everything else. And like any other plan.
So, just transparency's sake, to make sure I understand, we're gonna take that 130,000 surplus, put it in the fund. That's to pay the city side of the copay.
It pays the copay, it pays that gap from the $1,000 deductible to $6,350. Well,
And-
minus the copays and everything else, you know.
And we're hoping at the end of the year, there's some money left in that fund, and then
The way this is funded, go to. I think we have this funded. That we're gonna be in trouble if we have more than 20 employees. go over 6,350.
And that's kind of where I was gonna go, we're gonna put that money aside, we'll pay for that, and push
Uh-huh.
that. And let's just say the city has a really bad year, and we get to that 130,000, but we continue where does the money come from if we have to go past 130,000?
Like I said, there's enough there for 85%, 90% of the employees,
Okay,
so I feel comfortable.
okay,
It never happened. I
Okay.
mean, can it happen? Yes.
No,
Will
we
it happen?
would have to get,
but we would have to find the money.
But see, I'm not worried about big claims, because once they go past 6,350, they're blue. So
Yeah.
if you have that $1 million claim.
Right.
You know, we always laughed at, 40 years or 36 years ago, when I first involved in city business, I had health insurance. I had an 82% rate increase my first year as city manager in West Kansas. And back then, 36 years ago, the maximum lifetime benefit for health insurance was $1 billion. And we always said that you probably won't live to $1 million. Now, we can all think of plans we know of that, there's a local, I can think of somebody here locally that's probably gonna be north of 4 or 5 or 6 million. And those things happen, I mean, so with ACA, there's no more longer, there. And like the other ACA plan, like the full one, it covers, if you're on a dependent plan, it covers dependents till they're 26. Back when, my two oldest daughters were in college, he had cut them off at 23 when they were still in school yet. So we had to find plans. One of them was in med school, and we had to find a plan for her. And she was so worried, because I had to kick her off of ours. We bought her a mega deductible for $900 a year. And she always said, I have bad insurance. No, you don't have bad insurance. It just don't kick in till you get here. You have great insurance. It's like anything on a house. You buy insurance on a house, and I go through a tornado in a house. Your insurance plan will never pay you more than the max. So if you only insured your house for $100,000 and it cost you $200,000 bill back, if you need insured for rebuild, that was your choice, But again, I think it covers all the needs. Is it gonna be perfect? I think it's gonna work, because like I said, it's still a blue plan, nothing else changes. How it's handled until the paperwork on the backside, and again, I think Angela and Steph felt confident enough that they could handle that side. The bookwork stuff, and I mean, we're solid there, so I don't have any problem with that. And,
So you said the department heads that were at the meeting. We're
It's the-
okay with it. What about their staff?
I haven't heard any complaints. I mean,
Okay.
they tell their staff on, and we tried to explain to other employees, and, we have one in our office, because everybody was up there, so we left one downstairs, and she got a gas, yeah. And we're gonna have employee meetings, Julie will be here, Julie, one of you will be here, explaining everything to them. That's the 2 cards, first year, I remember that first year when I was in Southeast Kansas, and we had 2 cards. Oh my God, I mean, it was, but it worked, and that city had substantial savings. With any health insurance plan, we're probably gonna have one bad year 1 out of 5 is a bad year. 1 out of 5, we're gonna crowd that, and again, I worry about that 130,000 too. But the way we have it funded, it's gonna cover 20, and we don't have to, I think we have 19 employees on it right now, so we're okay, it's like, we're gonna be good. And, and that just never happens, I want, and again, we want to plan, some cities have self-insured or partial self-insured plans. But with those, you can probably like a $50,000 deductible. And you fund for that, and that's fine until you have too many employees getting that 50 a year. Does it happen? But it can, and you gotta be ready for that. Trust me, you gotta be ready for those things.
And now this is going to be for 1 year?
Yes. Because first of all, the rates, and I'm worried about the rates next year, because the plan that came in has with Blue Cross. In the plan, their rate increase next year cannot exceed 20. Well, let's say it's near 10, well, that's in their, what's the $40,000 a year we get paid. And again, I can sit and argue all day long, as 86% for a family too high. I'm not gonna say it is or isn't. Point is, it's what we have. And if you start, just like I said, on the full family plan, if you went from 86% of the city pays the 76%, that's $230 to employees. So $230, 12 months, that's 4,000. You know, we're talking $2 an hour now. And I mentioned in my letter, if you read it, you know, that, you know, our family plan in the city right now is costing the city $10, $11 an hour. And your employees, you know, yeah, and how do you find that gap in there? It probably should have been taxed, so we move forward and try to do something.
Okay.
So, my other question would be, so I got some feedback from some staff members and they are not a fan of it.
Okay.
So if
And-
they choose to not enroll in the city's insurance, is there any sort of, do they get a stipend or anything? So
No,
they're just
no.
without that benefit.
And what was the reasons?
I just was told that they didn't like it and some of them were gonna look for other
Okay,
insurance.
and I don't, they're not gonna find anything at that price. I guarantee that, I guarantee that. We didn't get any of those, I mean, you know, nobody related back to me. And,
And we have some staff in here, I was wondering if we could put them on the spot.
yeah.
Would any of you like to share your
Ron
thoughts
Ron
since you're
that's
here?
probably-
If not, it's
I
okay.
mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, it's new, it's gonna be a change. That's, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a preference one way or another. I just want insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, it's gonna be a change.
See, I would like to know what their concerns
Learn
are.
how it all works.
I haven't heard the concerns, I'd like to know what they are, because like I said, they still have a blue card.
Mhm.
They'll still have $1,000, they'll have $1,000 deductible, that's one change. I mean, I know that,
Yeah,
but you cannot, I mean, that's just. You know, if you want to start with the cost. The other option is to stay with what we have now and cut the percent down. And that doesn't make no sense. I mean, it would kill it for us.
Okay.
I mean, this is Cadillac, I'm not gonna argue that.
could you explain a little bit, the prescription drug coverage, so it's like $15 after deductible, so if
No.
I have a $100
You
prescription.
pay 15,
But if I go to F&M and get my prescription, I pay 15,
you have a generic,
and then that's it.
and then the city will pay the 85 out of this fund.
So then do I have to ask for reimbursement
No.
for that?
No.
If-
They'll send the card in, so you go down to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
And you hand your card in. And it's a generic, so generics are 15. Okay? And so you pay your $15, they bill for the rest.
The bill, the city or your insurance or,
They bill us, well, it goes to freedom claims, which then the city gives the money to freedom claims to pay. Once you get past 6,350, and let's say you had a tough year and you had some other things happening. And your total expenses that year go over 6,350, then it all goes blue. Just like it would for an HSA type plan. So you won't have anything different, you'll have a car, I mean, you know, you'll go in there. Yeah, we have a HRA now, but you have to submit it, our HRA is, this is a weird HRA we have here, you have to meet. $500 deductible, if you've been $500 deductible, then you can take money out of HRA up to a certain amount. The problem is not many people met the $500 deductible, because you don't meet the deductible by prescriptions. You don't meet them by office co-pays, you only meet them by basically on the hospital, basically, I mean, there's better reason, for the most part. So the other side of the coin is you don't go ahead and, they don't meet. And then the other thing we had was for the HR you had now, if you had a family, you had to meet, instead of 500, you had to have 2 people to do 500. Well, one person, we had one employee, that had one person, no problem. But they never had anybody else in the family to be together, if they were healthy, you know. They had one people that had some health conditions, so they had no problem, but they never got touched HRA. And, yeah, it's all handled, you know, the only money the employee will ever pay out of their pockets is the co-pays. The deductible up to $1,000, and then they'll pay 80% or 20% of the next $5,000 expense. So if I have if an employee had a appendix come out, they pay, doesn't happen first day, appendix comes out, they pay $1,000 deductible. They pay, since the appendix might cost more than $5,000, they pay another $1,000 And then it goes, and then they're done for the year. Oh, they'll still be the co-pays. Now, if it goes past $6,000, if all their prescriptions, and everything else, the rest of the year are covered now.
I just gotta hit that.
That's 6350, yeah.
6350.
Yeah. And get or, but she's appendicitis, you know, I don't want that, I don't think bad sick, but. You know, the other option, I don't know how you're gonna afford down the road, you know, change your trajectory. Because that's the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin is be like an average plan for most employers, and most cities would probably have, is the city on the family pays like 50%. That'd be horrible, I mean, it'd be horrible. I don't recommend that, I mean, it'd be horrible. Because I'm used to having employees that were paying, you know, families, well, they always wanted a lower deductible. In the city I was in, we had a $2,500 deductible. And you could buy down to 1,000. Which I was surprised there were employees that did, because it makes no sense. Especially if you have good family history. Now, if you have other family history, I get it, but if you're a normal healthy family, there's a great chance you probably don't, I hope you don't get it, you know. You know, and it's the same thing with car insurance. I mean, you do a $500 deductible car, do a $1,000 deductible car, you do a higher deductible than that. You know, house insurance now, especially on a new house, you finance deductibles on a new house is 1%. So if you're building a new house out there for $400,000, and you know your deductible is $4,000 on a house, well, it's just a different world. Yeah, I don't know what the concerns are. I mean, I haven't heard anything. We could address them. And again, if we have those, we'll go here's Julie's card, call her. If employees have problems, we don't want them to have problems. You don't have, I mean, you don't want that. You know, they won't find, I don't think I have employed a spouse that can match this plan. You know, that ain't close. I think if they go look for something else, they're not gonna find it, because, you know, even if you go to the market, you're not gonna find anything.
Sure. Well, and I think one concern was that this didn't get introduced to them until November, so they really didn't have a whole
Because
lot of time to ask any
We
questions.
couldn't do much about it because we were waiting on renewals and everything else. I mean, insurance
And we have
plans.
to decide tonight, right?
Yeah, because we gotta get Blue Rocket, or and everybody rocking one to get it done by the first of the year. That'd be the advantage, and I'm not suggesting we do this. It's great in cities where you do not have in the plans that you are not a January 1 renewal. But since we're with the Cayman plan, we gotta be January 1 renewal. We can't do that. I've had cities that had their own plans, they weren't like the Cayman pool that had a July renewal or August renewal. Like how August renewal is all insurance companies are available. You know, I mean, yeah. Insurance changes can't be made much sooner because you don't get the rates until October or November, and then October. I've had January renewal rates delivered to me on December 6th already. And you don't have time. I mean, it's the way life's gonna be, you know. It's one of those worlds. Yeah, I think, you know, but again, the only change the city of the employee's gonna see is the $500 deductible. That's all they're gonna see. They think they're gonna have to work with the 2-card system will work.
And they'll have training from these
Yeah,
FCMI, I mean,
yeah.
I think they can figure that out.
And so if it doesn't work this year, the city could move to a different plan next year or
If they-
something similar to
Oh, we have that.
what they have now. Okay,
But then
If we could
you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna pay for it.
right.
You're gonna have, if you're not gonna find a solution. Long term, like I said, a 10% rate increase is $1.5 million taxes to the property owners. I mean, you know, I'd rather pay the employee more money down the road than. You gotta have a plan.
And I understand what you're saying, that health insurance doesn't make a mortgage payment, doesn't put food on the table, but also sometimes that's what makes or breaks somebody from staying in the position. So I just want to make sure that this isn't gonna be something we lose employees over.
If they lose on that, I wanna see the plan they got.
Too, because that's.
We had an employee that don't about to find their job, and his supervisor came and talked to me, and I'm going like. Okay, he might get paid $2 an hour more than their job, But his health insurance, he's a family. And I know where he's gonna go, it ain't gonna come close. Yeah,
So I think. Some hesitation. Is going from a $500 deductible. To, when you're looking at it on paper, a $6,000 deductible. With Blue Cross Blue Shield. So the reserve fund. That the city would gain. With that $130,000 difference. When you're talking about healthcare costs, $130,000 is not gonna go very far. So here's the thing, we're not covering somebody's whole thing. We're covering the difference between the $500 deductible.
$1,000.
Well, we pay the $1,000 deductible, but the $5,000 difference between our new deductible and the $6,000 deductible that's sitting there on paper, that's what's coming out of the fund. And so it would have to be a high number of employees that had to,
Make out.
right, so because once you hit that. So the secondary insurance, which essentially is what this is gonna cover the $1,000 to the $6,000 amount. And then Blue Cross would take over. I mean, there'll be 20%.
So that secondary insurance is tied to the 130.
no,
Well, that's where it's,
the city is secondary insurance, the
right,
city is
because that would
self-insurance.
be our money.
I always say this kind of plan is self-insurance on training wheels. Trust me, I've got cities on self-insurance where, you know, we funded a 30 year, now it's maybe $50,000 deductible. You fund those and build those. It's already great until you get some nasties. I always kid, we had the Wednesday, I want to set up a page to say, a self-insured plan totally. We had that worst year, the first year, well, we had to buy a heart. We had a heart transplant. And heart transplants are all, they're $5 million. The big thing with a heart transplant is that it the rejection dose. Which now is probably $70,000-$80,000 a quarter. And what's driving the health insurance right now is prescription drugs, there's some expensive ones out there. And, you know, the employee will be in the same network for drugs that are now.
So that doesn't
No
change,
change,
that's,
no change, still be the blue network. They'll still be the blue doctor network. Yeah, I wish that I'd know that someone came to talk about this because I think we could have a lot of the questions ahead of time and I already called Julia. Well, somebody from Freedom Claims to explain it to them. But you don't want a plan that they're gonna be confused with, you know. You know, if they're gonna leave city employment for a change from $500 to $1,000 deductible. They're not gonna find anything.
oh yeah, you can't,
They're
yeah,
gonna do it.
there's nothing.
And you're gonna start making that swing, that's a small thing, you know, I would argue that probably ought to be 1,500, 2,000. You know, 2,500, that's what it should be in comparison to other employees in the world. You know, I listened to what Louise said, you know, Louise moved from another public employee here in town. How much less do you pay on health insurance
Over $300 less.
for a single plan?
And my deductible is half of what it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the deductible, that shouldn't be a make or break for somebody to work here, it's that.
Yeah, I know what their
I
plans
mean,
are.
if it is, then there's probably other things too, besides the deductible.
There always is.
Yeah,
I would love to know their plans, they could find it.
yeah, I mean, be interested.
At a price that's affordable. And again, I realize employees are gonna keep that, but again. In our roles, my role here as interim and administrator, I gotta balance the cost of the taxpayers. To keep employees, and where's that gonna be? You know, if you don't, how you know, what are you gonna get, what else you gonna get next year? You know, if you go over there $35,000-$40,000 a year, you know, all the time, like I said, that's another about 42 bills taxes.
Well, I like the fact that this is not locked in for the next
Well,
5,
first-
10 years.
You never lock in, you can't, first of all, you can't, and secondly, because things change. You know, we're gonna, more than likely, the city will always probably remain in the Cayman group. Because instead of having a group of 20, 25 employees, you're in a group of 500 employees. Because what happens if that $1 million claim is in your group next, if you were the $20 group? And it could happen, I mean, I don't know when it's gonna be. If I do, take health insurance, but if everybody tell me what they're gonna spend next year, we can find plans that are affordable to do stuff. I can't, I don't know how to do that. So,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the health plan for 2026.
I'll second. All right, Counselor Renard has made a motion to approve the 2026 health plan, and Counselor Allen has seconded that motion. Any discussion, further information needed?
so that's a high deductible plan
Okay.
with the underlying $1,000 deductible for employees. Still Blue Cross network.
And if someone went out and found another plan for themselves, they would drop from this insurance coverage.
Yeah, but there's no stuff, you don't want to get it. No, there's very few employees that would give you a stipend. Because what you end up doing now, if you do that, is, let's say all of us were the same group together. And Mr. Healthy here would go, I'm going, well, I find something cheap. And we're gonna keep Mr. Old and Sickly here, you know, and keep us, and guess what the rates do next year? Yeah,
Big time.
so that's why, you know, you don't wanna offer stipends for somebody to leave your group. Or to encourage them to go to their spouse's group. Like I said, when I look at our plan, and I see the family plans we have for the spouses working somewhere else, we have a better plan. Nothing wrong with better plans, but how do you afford them? That's my concern. And that's where I have to go look at taxpayers and dollar section. Because you all hear, we gotta cut expenses, well, this is expense.
All right, any other concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're gonna approve the health plan for 2026. Where we need to go.
I don't know.
All right, so we're moving on to new business. To approve the agreement with Cross Point Church and their donation of $50,000 towards the HVA system at the Health and Rec Center. We've got to pick up the $8,210 to complete the project there. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, that's just the agreement that Patrick put together for us for the church to sign once, you know, we get their portion of their donation for the HVAC system. And as you see there, that the rest of that 8,000, whatever it was, would be on the city to help with those funds.
You are not approving purchasing equipment tonight. We will not order the equipment on, or make a motion to buy the equipment until the money is all received. Because I'd have to encumber all the funds and causes great problems. This is just approve the agreement that Patrick did, that you like the agreement, and I don't see anything to it.
Yeah, we've talked about this. We all thought it was a great.
Yep.
So
Okay,
now,
Mr.
yeah, now we proceed, once you get approved, we'll proceed with them signing it and then writing a check.
Mr. Nicolai moves to approve the agreement with the Cross Point Church.
I'll second that.
Counselor Moon has made a motion to approve the agreement with Cross Point Church for the purchase of the, they would purchase the equipment, we would offset it. And Counselor Renard has seconded that motion. Any other concerns here? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Got another one coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, this is for the approval of the sound system acoustic panels. It waived the rental fee to Pheasants Forever through the 2030 at the Health and Rec Center.
Yeah, we have, did receive the grant from the Smoky Hill Community Foundation for 15,000 was the amount allocated to us, and then 5,000 from Pheasants Forever. So we have received those checks, and so that we do have an agreement as well with Pheasants Forever to waive the rental fee for 5 years, so.
Seems pretty fair.
I'll read. So, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the sound system and quad acoustic panels at the Health Recreation Center in the amount of $19,841.76 and not to exceed $20,000 of work to be completed by Tom's Music House for the speaker system and acoustics panel purchased from Acoustimat and installed by city staff along with the agreement with Pheasant Forever to waive the rental fee through 2030.
And the difference on this one is the money is in the bank. So you're making a motion to not only accept their money, but also to purchase, because. Yeah, Angela has to hold the cash in summers.
I'll second.
All right, Counselor, Allen has made a motion to approve the sound system and acoustic panels of the Health and Recreation Center in the amount of $19,841.76 and not to exceed $20,000 of work to be completed by Tom's Music House for the speaker system and acoustic panel purchased from Acoustimac and installed by city staff along with agreement with Pheasants Forever to waive the rental fee through 2030. And Counselor Moon has seconded that motion. Any other concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Okay.
Get an upgraded rec center. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Next item on the agenda is a biennial routine bridge inspection proposal.
Hey Tyler, a couple of you guys have you have 3 microphones on at once, it's hurting my ears, I'm getting older.
We normally could, but they're ringing tonight, I hear you.
Yeah, they're ringing right now, if you don't
I
mind.
turned mine on and it made problems. Let's try that one.
That's
That's better.
I didn't miss.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Well, maybe, I think everybody can hear, but
Yeah, it is, I almost forgot it.
we haven't got any complaints on the air, I don't think so, yeah. My interview, okay.
good.
Our bridges, we have 2 bridges that are in the system, box culverts on, East North Main Street. If they're there from KDOT, we have to get them inspected by December. We have to put them on the national thing, so got a proposal here from Kirk Michael, reached out to me. $900 for inspection, $600 to update the data they have to put in for a total of $1,500. The bridge inspection will continue every 2 years, of course. The reason why you want to do this, of course, is because down the road, you have to replace funding there'd be funding available, or could be funding available. Whereas if you don't tell them together, you're on your own, that's not a good move.
Yeah.
And these are just box culverts, I mean, they're not. Because we say bridges in town, like, there ain't no bridge in town, there ain't one out here, but box culverts are county bridges. And I didn't check with their engineer for that price, and
Yeah, that's normal.
and they've done it in the past here, and I never had complaints about that piece.
So, Mr. Dinkle, I move to approve the contract with Perkins Michael for routine and inventory bridge inspections and for SNBI data updates for a total cost of $1,500.
I'll second that.
All right, Counselor Moon has made a motion to approve the contract with Kirk and Michael for routine and inventory bridge inspections and for SNBI data updates for a total cost of $1,500, and Counselor Renard has seconded that motion. Any concerns about this? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, okay. Next one is the State of Kansas Grant Agreement number 25-HR-002.
As everybody knows, officially now announced that the city has the CDBG for housing rehab and demos. Part of the agreement, of course, is we have to have agreement here with the state to get the money, $300,000. We have a local match of $13,150, and of course, we have in part of the grant fund will be the money for the North Central Kansas Regional Planning Commission. Keegan will handle the program for you, which is great because there's a lot of nuance in the program and certain things, and you want a professional to do that, and that's what she is. And I believe she managed that one year before, they had a few years ago, after she managed it also. Great deal. By approving this, you're going to say it's going to get $300,000 you don't have now, and it'll go to people in this community to do rehabs. Application process will probably start in January. Pre-apps were done last summer, but the pre-apps will not count. Everybody has to reply again because now you have to meet all the income requirements and everything else. And there's different requirements there. There'll be up to a few demos allowed. The nice part about the demos is there is no income base on the demo. So if you own a property and it meets and you can do it, the only problem is what you do with the land afterwards. Because all people that use this to rehab a house, they are gonna have to put a lien on or a note on their mortgage or abstract that says there's a lien on there for 5 years, that the house, can't, it has to continue and everything else and do that. Because what you don't want to do is somebody come in, that's 5 rentals, you can get them fixed and then they'll rent to people that are low moderate income levels. Because CDBG is all about low moderate income. And when we say low moderate income, everybody always gets excited because, and I don't know what percent of this house, probably in the mid-40s, I'm guessing. Lower moderate income is, a family of 4, a lower moderate income level maybe $65,000. Of people that do find, they're part of this community and that's what they make and they, they're the contributing part. Thank God there's programs that can help them out, of course. But when we say low moderate income, we're not talking people that make, when we say 40% of low moderate income in this community, we don't have 40% of people that are making $5,000 a year. It's a different number than that. You always want a higher salary. That's why you always have increased jobs and everything else. But or the deal. But this would be the agreement with the state.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve State of Kansas grant agreement number 25-HR-002 between the State of Kansas Department of Commerce and the City of Ellsworth.
I'll second.
All right, Councilor Bernard has made a motion to approve the State of Kansas grant agreement number 25-HR-002 between the State of Kansas Department of Commerce and the City of Ellsworth. President of the Council Coates has seconded that motion. Any concerns?
Are we able to continue to apply for these grants?
Well, as long as there's money available. And normally KDOT or Kansas Department of Commerce wouldn't allow the whole city. It had done a target area. But there's a lot of concerns that this may be the last time you have this program. Again, that's not, if the money ain't there to get a grant from, you can't get a grant.
Yeah.
As long as the grants are available, wow, yes, you can. But will that continue down the road? We know it's funded this year. It's all we know.
And how do they alert us that the money is available?
The people,
The state.
first of all, a lot of people attended the meeting last spring. That Keegan put on. A lot of people did, and Delville reached out to those, and we have to do public notices yet. In December, we'll be doing a bunch of public notices and everything else. It'll be out there. All the people that did a pre-app last summer will be notified by Delvin to do the process now with Keegan as well. So a good number have been identified already. You gotta realize on rehabs here, we're talking about minor rehabs. We're not, because I think it's probably limited to $15,000-$20,000 to a person. So you're not gonna do but maybe you can winterize and do some things like that, tighten windows and some stuff like that. It's not gonna be $80,000 one house to rehab. That's not what the program is for. The program is to provide livable housing to the low moderate income.
All right, any other concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is the engagement letter for audit services of the city's financial statements.
Mayor and council members is those from Adam Brown, and it looks like I put 2 attachments in your packet. They're both the same. This is for the next 3 years, so the audit for the year ending 25, 26, 27. They'll do the 25 next year. This city has been with Adam Brown for the last 3 years, and I don't see them really want to change at this point in time. Once the staff is very familiar with them. They had our audit knocked out by April last year. Yeah. They get it done. They work well with staff. I know you can switch audit firms now and then, but I would sure give them at least in there a couple of years. And this is a letter of agreement because technically we can bind ourselves, because we'll get a contract then to do the audit for those years based on these fees. And they're rating up a little bit, because, you know, it was 12.2 this year, and the next three is, there's a slight increase per year, but nothing dramatic. I think go $100 this year, $370 the following year, and then looks like another $335 the following year, so, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the engagement letter with Adam Brown's to perform the audit of the city financial statements for the years ending December 31st, 2025, 2026, and 2027.
I'll second.
All right, Council Allen has made a motion to approve the engagement letter with Adams Brown for the audit of the city financial statements for the years ending December 31st, 2025, 2026, and 2027. Councilor Coates has seconded that motion. Any other issues with this?
Just a question.
Sure.
Is that a public, that audit? Can anyone see that audit?
Yeah, it was part of the agenda. It's online. It was in our agenda packet back spring. I don't know if we have it on our line separately or not. Yeah, it's public dollars. I mean, you know. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no other concerns. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next one, tenant-based rental assistance inspection contract.
Mayor, council members, as you know, we approved a grant for this tenant-based assistance again. The city started handling this back in about 2015 or so, when first I was handling towns, quit doing it, and the city picked it up. Deanna handles everything. One of the things that has to be done is somebody has to do inspections. And this Mr. Bass has been doing them since 2009, and it's just a continuing, and it's coming out of the grant fund, so it's city dollars, but it's city dollars that are tax dollars, it's dollars we come out from the grant, so. The only thing in there is if you leave. I think we mentioned when we talked about the grant a couple of months ago. There is some about 85% of the money goes city, there's some outside the city limits. So there's a little mileage out there, and that rate hasn't been set yet, but it'll be our S rate, which is 70, 71, 72, something in that range there.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the tenant-based rental assistance inspection contract. Mr. Don Bass.
I'll second that.
Councilor Moon has made a motion to approve the tenant-based rental assistance TBRA inspection contract with Don Bass. Councilor Renard has seconded that motion. Any other comments or concerns? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next is the Next Tech proposal for managed IT and managed Microsoft 365.
The city, mayor, council members, the city has used Nextech for its managed IT for a few years at least. Apparently, ever since the disaster, yeah, that's exactly what happened, yeah. I read about it, I'm glad I wasn't here on that one, and I read about other cities that get hit too. The city was doing its own Microsoft 365, it really needs to be put all together. So when you add all the fees together, it's a slight increase over last year. But basically it's a $750 one-time fee to start, and then the $6,138.50 a month. Is that a lot of money? Yes, but when you get reports like this, we use Thrift, and this is 0 on there, and you have no problems. And those, the staff remembers the problems a few years when they end it. And you got the hit here. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in nowadays. I mean, people are gonna hit. I had an IT director in their city always said, you know, you're not gonna guarantee there's none, but he always says you're gonna take, you may get the drive-by shooter, but you may get the target person. But with the IT support we have and everything else, you probably have eliminated the so-called drive-by shooters in the weak spots. And I love getting reports that says, you know, we have a lot of stuff and you know, it's just necessity nowadays in the city, you know, to have, so. We had put that, you know, last year when I got here, those licenses, I think we were spending $20,000 on license for Microsoft 325 or 365, 365. It's just, you know, nobody wants to go back to chief tablet and lead pencil. Number two, I offered that. That was voted down.
They didn't want to do that.
That'd be the simplest way. We didn't have those kind of problems back then.
We couldn't hack into it.
And that's $6,000 a month?
Yes. Yeah, IT,
We're paying.
I mean,
We've already paid.
I don't know what it cost you, what it cost it, sure, I don't know how much money was lost in that, when you guys got there, you paid the ransom, I believe.
No, we didn't pay the ransom.
I thought.
No.
Okay,
No.
okay.
No, we did not. We talked to the insurance company, we got a good
The
education.
insurance paid the ransom.
No, nobody paid the ransom.
I thought there was, okay,
No.
I'll check.
We figured they would move on and they did.
Good. But that could be, you know,
It's 200 grand we saved right there.
okay,
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the proposal with Next Tech for managed IT and management Microsoft 365.
I'll second. All right, Tyler has made a motion, Council Bernard made a motion to approve proposal with Next Tech for managed IT and managed Microsoft 365, and Councilor Allen has seconded that motion. Any concerns or debate?
Are there any other companies in the area that do this kind of work? And would it
not
be,
really, there's a lot of next tax, basically next tax, there's other companies around the state. When I talk to other cities, is the kind of the rates that looking at me, you know. Unless you go with a full-time IT department, and that costs you, you know, tons of money. You know, it's easy to spend, you know, and again, I came from Water City, but when we were spending on all our licensing and everything else, this covered all the licensing. You know, we were north of. And I always say things are somewhat comparable here to where it was, just divide everything by 10. Yeah, they spend like $700 a year on IT stuff. Big Chief Tablets, number 2 down, so cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, what other factor is before Next Tech, I can tell you before the attack, I think we had a complaint every 2 weeks. It was a constant, the two companies we had before that was constant complaining. I've not had one single complaint. The only problem we've had is an occasional Wi-Fi problem up here, but I've not heard of a thing in 3 years, so there's value in that.
Yeah.
So, you know. All right, so we've got a motion, a second. All right, any other concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, water treatment service for city office building, boiler.
Mayor, council members, the city has a boiler in this building, our heating system. Bought a brand new back in 2019 for about $100,000. So, and Susan has to keep it in good shape, last as long as possible. American Standard Boiler does the inspections, states that we have scaling in a boiler, and they recommend using, and I have it wrong here, it's H2 Global, it's not Global Solutions, H2 Global Solutions. I didn't see H2 in the
Well,
letter.
look at the green ball.
I know,
Yeah,
I did.
I didn't notice that either.
Okay, there's H2 Global Solutions, to do some treatment in our, and some maintenance work in our boiler system. This same firm, I believe the co-op uses it for their boiler system, so a firm that's business down. I just think we gotta protect that investment, if not, it's too expensive. And the other option, of course, tear the building apart and put in a different kind of heating system, but that's gonna look more than just $9 too, so.
Dave can't do it? He said no.
We don't need to.
He said no. So, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the proposal of the H2 Global Solutions of regarding Kansas for water treatment services for the water system.
I'll second that.
All right, Councilor Moon has made a motion to approve the proposed global solutions of Godwin, Kansas for water treatment services for the boiler system. Councilor Bernard has seconded that motion. Any concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next, we've got the closing comments, correct? Am I missing something?
No.
Okay. City Inspector Dellon's not here. Chief, Fire Chief.
So, we had a training exercise that we did a week ago Saturday, and the training exercise was good, but when we walked away from that, we've got some major problems with the aerial. I am working with, Conrad Fire out of Kansas City, who's the Pierce dealer, to replace, some parts onto it. I'm working on getting some bids and some figures for those. What happened is there's what's called a pressure relief valve that dumps off excess pressure, and I can explain that, but probably doesn't matter. But that valve has failed. And I can see it, but we can't get to it. I know what needs to be done to it. So I'm working on getting some quotes from them. They are about a month and a half out, so I have tentatively asked that they would put us on the schedule for right after the first of the year. I will be getting some more cost analysis back on that as to what we're doing. So if we have an event that requires the use of the aerial, it is still operational, but I will have to relay pump to it from another truck. So my response is that because of the aging equipment, it seems like every time we go, something's broke down. When it happens to be the aerial, I start losing sleep. But so I am working on that. I'm getting some more quotes from Conrad. I've had verbal communication with them and emailing as well. But probably I'll be able to report back with more detail about what it's gonna cost. But I went ahead and had them save the slot for us right after the first of the year so we can get it, make arrangements to get it down there. It's just one of those things that happens. There's no questions. I just want to keep you abreast of what we got.
Thank you.
No golf. Yep, interim police chief Jeffrey Weigel, want to come up?
Yeah, nothing really exciting. Our newest hire, Stroller, will be going to the academy with the second class in January, so middle of next year, hopefully.
That'll be the fourth officer, correct? In the department?
As long as everything goes well with everyone, yeah, that'll get us back up to 4 of 7.
Very good, thank you. All right, Ronnie is gone. No, we got David is the only one left, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing some upkeep on our lights, for safety out the water plant. Getting bids for that. There are a lot of towers. I need to get a hold of them because we have some lights that are going out on them. Other than that, I think everything's going pretty good on the lights and that. I'm just glad that we can get some of this stuff fixed if we need to.
Thank you, David. Steve, did you want to provide an update?
No, we didn't have anything going on.
Okay. All right, next one, Patrick.
No, I don't have anything.
All right, Louise. No? All right, closing comments, Al.
As you, my email last week, the Kunkel 156 project will not be bid until February, which will be January 21st. That's when they're gonna let the bids. I'm hoping for a little bids on my birthday, but that's not gonna happen, so it'll be in February, hopefully it'll bid happens. Of course, that's a 95.5 project where KDOT pays 95%, we pay 5%. The one thing that KDOT's gonna require is that it will be given contact, it's your, we'll do Scott last week, is the east entrance at Casey's will be shut down for by 2 months. Now, that's gonna cause a little bit of problem, and we're gonna again have to discuss how to do that. We have truckers now that people have pulled in off of Kunkel onto, is that Foster? No, Foster. They pull in, park there at night. They won't be able to go to the north side unless they go across Casey's. So we may have to do some signage issues and stuff like that, some things like that. And again, with anything else, you're just gonna have, we had a place here in town, a person that complained about a hole in the street. Troy finally, the best option was to cement it. Well, it blocked their driveway.
She didn't like that.
And they didn't like it at all. And it was like, I don't know what to do, it's like, we're fixing a major problem and for 10 days, we're gonna get shit. I'm sorry about that, but that happens every town. And we don't have a unique one here because when you shut a project, you have to do a project. We just have to get along with the growing pains, and, that's gonna happen a little bit there, I think we can, but, I think that's all I have. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you.
All right, city council, Tyler.
No,
All right, president council Coates, nothing.
Nothing.
Counselor Allen. All right. Counselor Mooney.
Yes. Very rarely do I see the officers, in the meetings. And I tell you, it adds a sense of security. So glad that you guys were able to come.
Good.
Cool.
Anything else? All right, no comments from me tonight. And I guess we will then make a motion to go into executive session. Well, I've got it right here, thank you. Where is it? In the back?
okay.
Last page of the agenda.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I move that the council recess for an executive session to include the mayor, council, interim city administrator, and city attorney for 20 minutes at 6:45 to discuss matters regarding the review of applications for the chief of police. The justification is to protect the privacy of the applicants for this non-elected position as provided by KSA 75-4319B1. The open meeting is to resume in this room at 7:05 p.m.
I'll second.
All right, Councilor Lars made a motion to go to executive session for 20 minutes to include the mayor, council, interim city administrator. For 20 minutes beginning at 6:45 till 7:05, and Councilor Coates has seconded that motion.
Yes.
Any concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. We're going to executive session.
Louise, Louise, I'll get with you later.
On returning from executive session,
No, I move.
I move the city council return from executive session, and no decisions were made, and no action was taken.
Second. All right, Counselor Nard has made a motion to return from executive session. Counselor Allen has seconded that motion. Any debate? No debate. All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries, and I guess we need a motion to adjourn the meeting, correct?
Yeah,
Mr.
let's
Mayor,
take-
I move to adjourn tonight's meeting.
All right,
I second.
all right, President Council Coates has made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Counselor Miller seconded that motion. Any problems with that? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. Good night, everybody. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Debbie.